What's up, everybody? Good morning. It is your diva and knowledge Lady Mocha, representing Mocha's Cafe de Paris. Want to give a big ups to all of my subscribers, my family, my A1s from day ones. I appreciate y'all for still being a part of my movement since I started this journey. Secondly, I want to thank all of my subscribers who have just recently subscribed. I want to welcome you to Mocha's Cafe de Paris family. You are now a new sipper, so I thank you for joining. Those of you, if this is your first time hearing any of my content for the first time and you like what you hear so far, please be sure that you subscribe, you join the family, you like, you share, and you hit that notification bell. That way, when I upload any new content, you will be the first to be notified and you will not miss out. So, moving right along, I thought it was very imperative that I spoke on this particular couple, Mr. Jeannie May and rapper Young Jezzy. A lot of content creators have been pretty much speaking on their relationship, and I definitely felt that it was necessary for me to also give my own personal intake about Mrs. Jeannie May and rapper Young Jezzy. Now, before I start off, before anybody starts, coming for me, let me first off start off by saying that this is not going to be one of those bitter black women videos where I'm bashing a brother because he decides to date outside of his race, because black women do it all the time as well. You got all the sisters out there that are swirling. So me personally, I don't have a problem with anybody that decides to date outside their race. I have nothing against interracial dating. I personally feel if you can connect with somebody that's outside of your race, and if you find somebody that's compatible for you and is good to you, then guess what? That is your personal business. It is not up to anybody to decide who you should be with or who you should not be with. So let me first off start off by saying that, because I know that's usually the first thing that people assume whenever a black woman speaks upon a relationship that has to do with a black man and another woman that is not a black woman, that they automatically assume, I'm going to be shading a brother and all of that. And definitely don't plan on doing so, but I am going to speak my truth. Secondly, I also wanted to address pertaining to this particular couple is that there are there's just one particular concern for me, which is the reason why I am doing this content overall. Because me personally, I know that when a woman has become a divorcee, meaning she has recently divorced, came out of a very toxic marriage, or so she claims, unhealthy relationship, 9 times out of 10, she really has not fully healed from that. And sometimes you take a chance when you decide to, invest or have a relationship with a woman. That is a recent divorcee, which is the case with Mrs. Jeannie May. So today's content is the desperation of the divorcee. Jeannie May engaged to be married to Jezzy after a messy divorce. So this is basically the direction that I'm going. I want to discuss women who have just came out of messy marriages, toxic relationships, marriages that failed, relationships that did not work out, and automatically they're moving on and pursuing a whole nother relationship when they really have not truly healed from a very damaging marriage or relationship. So this is what I basically wanted to talk about. So a lot of people have been discussing Jeannie May. For those of y'all who are not familiar with her, Jeannie May is of Vietnamese descent. She's actually one of the hosts of the show The Real. If any of y'all are fans of The Real, which is basically I would like to say a feminist talk show, because most of the viewpoints they share, most of the topics they discuss is from feminist viewpoints. Mostly women, share their perspectives on the show. Some of the hosts are Adrian Bailon, Tamar Braxton was one of the hosts until they evicted her and booted her off. Lonnie Love, Tamara, Amanda Seals, and Jeannie May, the Vietnamese young lady that I'm talking about now. So basically that's what she's mainly known for those of you who are not familiar with Jeannie Mai. And before this show, she already had, several receipts. So this is not the only thing she had going for her. She also was featured on a couple of shows like Today, Extra TV, Entertainment Tonight, and Insider. She's from California, and her mother is Vietnamese, and her father is Chinese. She was born and raised in California. I think I made that point already. She was also a makeup artist for MAC Cosmetics. So she was a makeup artist for celebrities such as Christina Aguilera, Alicia Keys, and a few others. She also was on MTV's Total Request Live as a makeup artist. So she has a couple of receipts. I would give her that. She has a couple of things, a lot of things going for herself to be successful woman. So she does, have receipts to show for that. She's independent, and she's always been one of those women that try to strive for the best. So apparently, Miss Jeannie Mai, I guess she got to a point to where her marriage started to hit rock bottom. She was married for, I would say, over, for about 10 years to her former husband, Mr. Freddie Hartes or Hartis. She was married to him from 2007, and they officially divorced in 2018. She did have to pay him a certain amount of money, which is undisclosed, is sealed, public records is sealed, so it's confidential, but she did have to pay him a little fee or whatever in order to officialize the divorce. And unfortunately, that comes with the territory when you're the one that makes the majority of the money or whatever the case is. So, that's just the way it is, and unfortunately, when you have a man that's, seeking money or speaking spousal support, a lot of people, especially women, they like to degrade the man, basically see him as a loser, you a bum, why you wanting money, from your wife, you know what I'm saying? And if it been the other way around, nobody would have a problem with it. If the woman is the one that's getting the spousal support and getting the child support, nobody ever speaks on it. Nobody makes it an issue. Nobody ever says anything like, man, why he got to give her money? Why he has to pay her spousal support? But when the man is getting spousal support, he's basically looked at as weak. He's looked at as a loser, and the whole bottom line is when we started this feminist era movement about equal rights, we don't get to choose where we want to choose for it to be equal. And then when it comes to other things, we think it should only be one way and one way only. So thanks to the feminist era, the feminist movement, now men have the same rights as women to say, hey, I'm not leaving this relationship broke. I'm not leaving this marriage broke. I want my cut too. I want my money too. Ask Mary J. Blige. Ask Aisha Tyler when she had to break her former white husband off some bread. That's just the way it is now. So you take a chance when you go into a relationship or a marriage being the majority of the breadwinner. Because when things get ugly and things go left, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be the one compensating for it. So basically, Jeannie Mai was very transparent on the show, being very open to the audience and very open to her host members, on the panel. Basically letting them know about what she was going through in her marriage. And the reason she had left her marriage of 10 years was because her husband, Mr. Hartis, at the time, wanted children. And she did not. So, I guess she felt it was better to leave the relationship, the marriage, knowing that she did not have the same desires that he had. Now, this brings me to my next question with Jeannie Mai, who apparently was deeply in love at one point in time with her husband, Mr. Freddie Hartis. She's been with this man for 10 years. And if you really look back at the older real episodes, you will see how in love with this man she was. Okay, she treated this man, she acted like this man was the best thing since sliced bread. Okay, she was head over heels with this man. So for her to just come to realization within 10 years of marriage that she finally had got an epiphany that it was better for her to go ahead and leave him, being that she did not want children and he did. I'm looking at it from a different perspective. My thing is, evidently she was in love with him. She was with him for 10 years. And it took her 10 years to realize she didn't want to give him a child. I'm really not buying that. What I'm assuming is that, and this is just my assumption. I'm assuming that Jeannie Mae could not have children. Okay? Because Jeannie Mae is 41 years old. Alright? And there's no way that you're going to be with a man for 10 years that you're so in love with and not want to give him a child. Now, I'm not saying it's not possible now. There's been some women that have been in relationships for a long time and they love their mates, but they just don't want children. So it's not that it's totally improbable. I'm not saying that's not possible. Okay? But what I'm saying is she decided to leave him because she realized he really wanted children and she didn't. Is it because she really did not want children, or the fact that she could not have children? Because believe it or not, that's a lot of pressure for a woman to not be able to produce a child for her man. It's a struggle, and only women who have personally experienced infertility issues, it brings a lot of pressure on you as a woman when your man wants a child and you cannot produce one for him. It's a lot of pressure, and it can take you to a state of depression when your significant other wants a child and you're having some type of medical issues or fertility issues that are way beyond your control. And it becomes to get a bit overbearing when your husband is constantly pressuring you. I want a son. I want a daughter. I want to be able to build a legacy. And you can't do that for him. Because my thing is, for her to have been with him for 10 years, evidently she was in love with him to a degree. Jeannie Mae is 41 years old. She does not have any children. So my mere assumption, like I said, I'm just assuming. I don't have no juice like that where I'm able to call and Jeannie Mae and have a personal interview with her 101. I'm nowhere on that level yet. But this is just my mere assumption that I think that was her way of copping out of the marriage, because he wanted something that she could not produce. And, I would also like to say is that I commend her for that, in a sense, because that's hard to walk away from a 10-year marriage knowing that you could not give a man something that you loved, something that he really wanted. So I think that's what's going on with that. I really, really do. I think Jeannie Mae, and or I could be wrong. Maybe she just really did not want to have children. But I just think that's kind of ironic for a woman to be that in love with a man and not want to have any children with him. I mean, most women who are in love with their husbands, first comes marriage, then comes the baby carriage. Especially when you've been together over 5 years. Okay, so nevertheless, she decided to end her marriage. When she ended her marriage, it hadn't even been a good year. The ink on the divorce papers wasn't even dried yet. And her husband was already with another woman. And not only with another woman, the woman also was with child. So it made a lot of people, give Jeannie Mae's ex-husband Freddie the side eye. Like, wait a minute, dude. How already you with another woman, and then on top of that, you got her knocked up? So he made himself look very suspect because it was just way too quick and way too soon. Like I said, the divorce papers barely made it to the courthouse. The ink wasn't even dry on the contract. And already he had moved on. So, 9 times out of 10, he wasn't um, really cleaning that marriage either. He was foul somewhere because that just was a quick move, you know. And then in some cases, you have that doesn't state that he was, actually, you know, um, cheating and messing around. I've known some couples. Soon as they break up, they go to the club and meet somebody that weekend. It just happens, I've seen it. I've seen, couples break up, go to the club that weekend, and already moving a person in their apartment a week later. It's crazy as hell to me, but people do it. And sometimes you have a lot of people who move on quickly because they either want to prove a point to that spouse who no longer wants to be with them, or they ex-man or the ex-woman that, look, I can move on, I got me somebody. Sometimes people move on quick to, basically try to spite their spouse, or they just really can't deal with the pain of losing that person. And the only way they can get past the pain is by getting in another relationship right away, which to me I think is unhealthy. I personally think that if you have not had the time to heal from a relationship, you don't need to be grabbing another woman right away, and you don't need to be grabbing another man right away, because you tend to overlook a lot of things because you are allowing your desperation to cause you to make impulsive decisions. And when you're desperate, you will overlook a lot of details. So me personally, I felt like Jeannie Mae moved on really, really quick. As I stated, she was very devastated, and that's natural. You lose your marriage, you find out, you come to realization that your marriage is gone. Losing a marriage is damn near like a near-death experience. And only those who have been there and done that could totally understand that. When you have given years of your life to another person, and the harsh reality of accepting the fact that your marriage is not going to move forward, that you're going to have to leave that person, it's a very painful, detrimental experience. Like I said, only those who have actually experienced it could totally understand. So I really think Jeannie Mae really she really was in a dark place, and she admitted it. She went through a lot of pain with losing that marriage, and she basically stated that she was in a real emotional place with her divorce from ex-husband Freddie Hartis, and how she overcame such a dark time in her life. She further stated, if you guys have friends that have been divorced, it is one of the most traumatic things that can happen, because you just feel like you failed. You feel embarrassed of all the people that were at your wedding. You get jaded. I remember telling you guys, I'm not getting married again. The thing I think that saved me is that I never gave up on love. I never gave up on love because it is so omnipresent and it is so healing, that the only reason why I recognize healthy love with Jay today is because I took the time to love myself. She continued, the divorce hurt, people change, people behave in ways that you didn't expect. It makes you completely not able to trust anybody after that. So she went through a little emotional meltdown, basically discussing of the trauma of her divorce. And that is when she met your boy Young Jezzy. Young Jezzy actually came on the show to do an interview with the ladies on the reel, and that is where their little love fling started. And that's when her and Young Jezzy started talking. And to give you a timeline of their relationship, she basically announced their engagement on April of 2020. Her and the rapper had been dating since November 2018. She didn't confirm it until the middle of that year. Jezzy surprised May with the proposal during an at-home date night in Los Angeles, having originally planned to propose in Vietnam. So the attraction was very mutual. basically. And they both realized that, this is something we both can have. They felt a connection. They felt compatibility. They knew instantly that, okay, I can see us being together. And I think that's awesome. That two, adults, who both have had to go through some things, both were able to realize that they both could still find love. And I can respect that any day. I can respect that better than somebody who's just bitter and hateful, who want to go around hating women, hating men, all because of things that they have had to endure in their relationship. And that's called growth, when you can move forward and still find love, even when you feel like you've been robbed, even when you feel like you have been cheated. And that is what the both of them did. Now, a lot of, people basically who spoke on this relationship figured that a lot of, people were being haters, particularly black women. A lot of content creators who spoke on Young Jezzy and Jeannie Mae basically said that a lot of black women were hating on the fact that Young Jezzy was dating outside of his race, and that he seemed to be so much more happier with a Vietnamese woman. And basically, I'm sure that's 95% of it, and a lot of people felt like Young Jezzy upgraded compared to prior relationships he has had. Young Jezzy is a father of three, from three different women. So I would say that Young Jezzy, he did upgrade. He upgraded tremendously. He got a beautiful Vietnamese woman who's successful, who can actually be an asset to him, not another burden. Evidently he got his own burdens. So Young Jezzy, yes, he upgraded, but Jeannie Mae, on the other hand, she downgraded. And I'm going to tell you why. And this is not speaking from a bitter or hurt, bitter black woman place. She downgraded. And I would say the very thing had the shoe been on the other foot. Okay? Had she been the one who had 3 kids from 3 different dudes and Young Jezzy got with her, I would say he downgraded. And that's just a fact. Because in the black community, we preach on, and I'm hearing a lot of men, who preach on how other men should not be dating women, single mothers, who have multiple children from multiple men. And I have always agreed with that theory. I've always agreed that a man who does not have any children, okay, I've always felt, and this has been my personal opinion, and I know a lot of single mothers, they get offended when you make these type of statements, but I always felt like a man who has no children should not be linking up with a woman who has multiple children for multiple men. I don't think that it is fair to him, because he made better decisions with his life to decide to get involved with a woman who did not make the best of decisions with her life. She was not married to any of her children's fathers. She was just going around raw dogging dudes and, creating random baby daddies. And now all of a sudden she's ready to settle down. She wants to find a man to help her, clean up what she done messed up. I don't think it's fair for a man to have to do that. And I don't think it's fair for a woman to have to do that. I don't think it's fair for a woman who has gone for years and made the decision to not get knocked up and not get pregnant from all of these random dudes. And here she is linking up with the man who did not make that decision. He decided to have multiple children from multiple women. All his baby mamas got different last names, and he's never been married to neither one of them. So the reason I feel this way, is because anybody who's ever dealt with somebody who has had multiple children and they did not have any, it is not easy being in those type of relationships where you have to deal with somebody who has children and you do not have any of your own, because it just comes with a lot of drama. Because already Young Jezzy is getting hit up. Him and Jeannie Mae haven't even made it down the aisle yet. And already his baby mama's gunning for him. They gunning for his pockets. Already. He's still dealing with child support. I don't know if he's been paying it, not paying it. I'm not sure. But I do know they are already gunning for his pockets. Already trying to send him back to court for child support. And this is something that Jeannie Mae is going to have to deal with. She's going to have to deal with these bitter bitches. Okay? That's going to be hitting her man up for every little thing. She's going to have to deal with that. Because anybody who's ever dealt with a man who has children from other women know these baby mamas, they feel a sense of entitlement. They swear because they had their kids from them first before you got in the picture that basically, you really don't hold the place. You got a lot of baby mamas that don't know their place, who don't know their position. And they really think because they have children from these men that they automatically got a one-up. And that's the bad part. What Jeannie Mae does not understand, yeah, you was with your husband for 10 years and y'all had y'all share problems, but at least you didn't have to deal with that baby mama drama. But now you're going to have to deal with the baby mama drama because that's coming. First of all, these black women are already going to be feeling some type of way just because you're not a black woman. Not that that's her fault and not that she should be concerned about that. But we're just speaking on the reality here. Even black women who have had to deal with men who they love, who have bitter baby mamas, they had to deal with the baby mamas being jealous, being hateful, being spiteful, trying to call the shots. And sometimes these men being a father, that puts them in a sticky position because you don't want to piss the mother of your children off because, unfortunately, these bras have the upper hands because they're the ones most of the time who got the primary custody. So you don't want to rub these females, your baby mama the wrong way to where she got the upper hand where she'd be like, well, nah, I'm not letting little JJ come this weekend. Well, no, I tell you what, I'm going to go down to the child support and ask for an increase. You know what I'm saying? So it puts the fathers between a rock and a hard place because they don't want to piss their baby mamas off, but at the same time, they have the woman that they're in a relationship with. They can't afford to make her feel uncomfortable where she could be like, you know what, the hell with this, I'm done. This is too fucking much. I'm not dealing with your baby mama calling here 3, 4 in the morning, being disrespectful, talking to me all kind of way. Jeannie Mae is going to have to deal with that. Unless young Jezzy really has it on lock where they know they place and they know, there's rules and he has a line drawn that he will not let them cross. That may be the only way she may have some type of peace in the situation. But the truth is, she's going to go through it. She's going to go through it. And again, all of this is because, as I stated before, the desperation of the divorcee. The fact that she feel like she failed her last marriage is the reason why she felt so adamant about moving on and getting in the next relationship with a guy who at least showed some type of interest. Because like I said, the divorce was 2018. She didn't really give herself time to heal. And already she's talking about getting engaged again. Already talking about getting married again. Now, this is the other part I wanted to address. Now, all of a suddenly, she's having a change of heart. She was with her ex-husband, Freddie Hartis, for 10 years, supposedly left him because she couldn't give him, she wasn't in the same state of mind of having children like he was. He wanted children and she didn't. Now you got to change your heart. And now you're saying that you're considering having children from Jezzy. Now, I found it strange how you was with a man for 10 years who didn't have no children from no one else, but you didn't want any children from him. Now, here it is. She's with young Jezzy, and they haven't even been together a good 3 years, and already she's saying that she's having a change of heart. She's considering having a child. You waited till you got 41 after getting out of a 10-year marriage. You want to have your first child with a man who has 3 kids from 3 different women. Now, this is the point that I've always addressed about successful women who make Section A project chick decisions. That's what Nicki Minaj did. Out of all the men, these type of women of high social status could have chosen, they decide to go for the lowest common denominator. They want dudes that already have excess baggage. And this is one of the reasons I felt that Jeannie Mae and young Jezzy was able to connect, because they both pretty much is in a dark place, just on a different level. Jeannie Mae is still butthurt that her marriage did not work out, that her ex-husband moved on and already is having a child from a woman. And young Jezzy, he's already going through his own battles with the baby mamas, taking them back and forth to court. He has all his own personal issues. So sometimes people both being down on their luck have a way of, connecting. And I pretty much think that's what's going on with the both of them, is that they both are in a messy place, in an unstable place in a sense. Because then this doesn't define him as a man. This doesn't make him less than a man. And her situation doesn't make her less than a woman. But what it does say is that we both are broken in our own situation. And the only way we can find happiness is through each other. And you have a lot of couples that are like that. You have a lot of couples that have not connected on the right foundation. They didn't connect so much because they genuinely was in love. They both was in a broken place. And when you both are in a broken place, your situation has a way of blindfolding you and making you feel as if, okay, you finally found your potential soulmate, when really you was just so broken that you was willing to seek happiness from anywhere that you could get it. And I really believe that's what's going on with the both of them. They both was just in a really broken place, and now they gravitating towards each other. I mean, which is cool if that's how you feel. That's your way of finding love, is through meeting somebody in a broken place. While you're in a broken place, then so be it. But just hopefully it doesn't come back to haunt your relationship. Because both of y'all still have unsettled issues that should have been established before y'all decided to make your relationship solid. Okay? Or else it's going to come back and become an issue to your marriage or your relationship in the future. Okay? So, basically, as I stated, they both was in a dark place. Now, my thing is, when Jeannie Mae got with young Jezzy, she went to bragging about how young Jezzy was the best thing that ever happened to her. She felt like she finally met her equal. She went on and on and on about he's such a wonderful man and how fine he is and all this and that and everything. And I'm like, okay, nothing wrong with that. But then she goes and kind of dogs her ex. And a lot of women do this. You have a lot of women, who, these divorcees, or these women who have just recently gotten out of, very toxic relationships or marriages. When they finally meet another man, all of a sudden, they don't even have to be with this new man a good year, and they already put him on a pedestal like he's the best thing since sliced bread. But my thing is, Jeannie Mae, you did the same thing with Freddie Hartis when you was with him. You put him on a pedestal. You made it seem like he was the best thing since sliced bread. Now all of a sudden, because you don't got this newfound relationship, you're talking about Jeezy like he's the best thing that ever happened, but y'all have not been together long enough for you to already be giving him the standing ovation. It's going to take some time for him to show and prove that he's really this man that you really think he is. Because relationships in the beginning, let's face it, they all start off wonderful. Everybody shows their good side in the initial beginning of these relationships. And women do it worse than men. Men, I notice, are a little bit more skeptical when they meet a woman for the first time after getting out of a relationship. A man, men, they may date a woman and may even, he may even start to have feelings for her. But he's not going to be shouting it to the rooftop that, oh, I got a wonderful woman. Oh, I got, he ain't even been with her a good 3 years. He's going to be skeptical because he's going to remember what the last woman did to him. Yes, he may have gained feelings for her. That's the emotional part of him. But a man is going to always think logically, like, wait a minute, she may be good right now, but that's how the last relationship started off. I got to take my time and make sure this woman is really for me before I start giving her all these brownie points. Women don't waste no time. They be so glad to get another man because, for one, they want to prove a point, especially if the last man they loved has moved on. So that's the first thing. They want to prove a point. And for two, in many instances, they're still being spiteful because they want to prove to the last man, okay, you done moved on. Guess what? I done moved on too. So my thing is, Jeannie Mae is giving young Jezzy all of these props. She's giving him all of this acknowledgement and praises, but she still does not know what challenges her and young Jezzy are going to have to face down the line, and so she don't need to be putting him up there like that until she know for sure. And Jeannie Mae is not the only woman who has done this. Many sisters I know have done this. You and your baby daddy, you was all booed up with him on Facebook and Instagram for years at a time. Now here it is, you done met a new Pookie, and you already posting pictures of him or flooding your timeline with him like you just know for a fact you done met the perfect man. You don't know how this dude is going to disappoint you. You have to give people time to disappoint you. I'm going to be honest. Going back into the dating world, you can't get your hopes up. You have to give yourself time. Allow people time to disappoint you. But because it's coming. It's bound to happen. You just have to decide if that's going to be the type of disappointment that you can overcome or y'all can't overcome it. Jeannie Mae, like I said, is not the only woman who has done this. Mary J. Blige did the same exact thing. When Mary J. Blige got with 𝐜𝐴T𝐚'𝐬, she basically put that man on the pedestal. Okay? Mary J. Blige had been married to 𝐜𝐴T𝐚'𝐬 for 13 years. That's the longest relationship she has ever been in, okay? Because we all know, even though I love my girl Mary J. Blige, she's always been one of those women. She's been very difficult, and she has a lot of dysfunction from her childhood through drugs and all type of things that she has gone through. So a lot of the relationships she has been in has been disastrous. She had a toxic relationship with KC from Jodeci, the singer Case. A lot of men in the industry that she's ever been in a relationship with, it has been a recipe for disaster. And she's even admitted this. So this is not something I'm just saying. She even has admitted she has not been an easy woman to deal with. So when she married 𝐜𝐴T𝐚'𝐬, I knew he had to be a man of a lot of patience to be with Mary J. Blige for 13 years. Now, she bragged about how 𝐜𝐴T𝐚'𝐬 helped her get off the drugs. He put her in rehab. She basically bragged about him like he was her Lord and Savior. I was in a broken place. I was so down on my luck. I just didn't love myself. And he came into my life and he helped me to love myself and he helped nurse me back to health. He helped me to find me. He's been such a wonderful man to me when all of the men I ever been with would just walk away and leave. He was really dedicated to me. She even said it in all her songs. Remember the old Mary J. Blige, the Mary J. Blige we loved, always talked about being heartbroken, always talked about being in pain. When she married Ken 𝐜𝐴T𝐚'𝐬, all of her songs was about being in love. You are everything. Everything is you. All of these love songs, I Could Love You 25/8, and you was there for me when I felt like I couldn't breathe, and I want to thank you for loving me, and all of her lyrics was about Ken 𝐜𝐴T𝐚'𝐬, how much he did everything for her, how much she was in love with him. Then when things went left, she sang a totally different tune. She went from that, to talking about, I love my Mr. Wrong, and now she has all of a sudden she has a different outlook once things go left. Then on top of that, she did a couple of interviews degrading and insulting the man who she so dearly praised by stating, "Oh, I regret praising my ex-husband for helping me in my drug addiction." Okay, so all of a sudden, 13 years later, because you realize you could no longer control a marriage, that he was not going to deal with you using your money, using your fame, or whatever leverage you felt like you had. Now, because he's gotten to a place where, you know what, the hell with you, the hell with your money, the hell with your fame. I'm not about to stand here and deal with your toxic ass behavior. See, a lot of people don't know that, but I remember there was a video, it's probably still on YouTube. There was a video where Mary J. Blige and Ken 𝐜𝐴T𝐚'𝐬 went to some type of big event, and she slapped him in front of a group of people. Now, and this was years ago. He should have left her then when she first did that. And you could tell the bodyguards had to pull her away and pull him away. Mary J. Blige is very toxic. She's a beautiful woman and she could sing her ass off, but she's not easy to deal with. And Jeannie Mae, as beautiful as she is, she may not have been an easy woman to deal with. Just listening to some of the things she says and does on the show is pretty annoying. She's made some statements that has made people look at her sideways. Jeannie Mae, is a successful woman, but she has had her bird brain moments where she has said some dumb shit on the show where people look at her like, really? Now, think about it. Her husband had to deal with that for 10 years. Same thing with Mary J. Blige. Mary J. Blige is very combative. She's the type of woman, she gonna get in your face. Mary J. Blige is very hood, okay? And everybody's first willing to sympathize with her. I'm in a different space. I don't always sympathize with women because they go through a different divorce, because they're going through a traumatic divorce. Because I've seen women who have done a lot of messed up stuff only to turn around and cry and pull down buckets of tears to act like they're the victim. You have to know both sides of the story before you start sympathizing. So yeah, Jeannie Mae is up here, bragging on Jezzy Mae and on young Jezzy. I'm talking Jezzy Mae. Well, hell, I might as well call him Jezzy Mae since they're a couple now, right? So she's up here bragging on Jezzy, but she did the same thing with her husband. She talked about him like he was the best thing since sliced bread. Now she wanted down the man, and the relationship was toxic. It was too much about ego. It was too much about money. Okay, well, damn, it took you 10 years to realize that. Now, same thing with Mary J. Blige. Mary J. Blige, when things went left, and she realized she no longer had the control in the marriage anymore, and she ended up having to file for a divorce. Now she wants to publicly state how she regrets thanking her ex-husband for helping her in her drug addiction. She stated, he did not deserve the credit. I wanted a savior. I've been hurting so long and so much and so bad. But it took you 13 years to realize that. She basically said it was her own inner strength. So now she wants to discredit Kendu Isaacs, when in the beginning she clearly stated that Kendu Isaacs was part of the reason that she went back to rehab and she got off of drugs. But now she wants to take that back and say it was her own inner strength. Okay, I will give you that to a degree. Because, as the saying goes, you could take a horse to the water, but you can't make that person drink it. You can't make the horse drink it. Yeah, you can take the horse to the water, but you can't make the horse drink it. But the thing is, he took you to the water, though. He took you there. He did part 1. And then you did part 2. But you did not do it by yourself, Mary. No, right now you're bitter, you broken, and you're angry because you realize you no longer could make that man feel guilty. Because 9 times out of 10, she probably made him really feel guilty. Or tried to make him feel guilty for not wanting to deal with her bullshit. And you have a lot of women that will do that. They will try to make a man not feel guilty for leaving them. Try to make a man feel guilty. I know a woman now who was in that same situation, tried to make a man feel guilty because he realized he no longer could deal with her toxicness. He no longer could deal with her toxic ways. So he finally got to a point to where he realized, I'm not going to keep allowing her to make me feel guilty by her telling me how much she been there for me, how much she took care of me, how much she was there when nobody else was there. I'm not going to keep letting her use this guilt pass as a reason for me to keep standing here and tolerating this abuse and this toxic behavior. So he left. And I really believe that was the same case with Mary J. Blige and Jeannie Mae and a lot of these women out here. Nicki Minaj did the same thing. She tried to make Safari feel guilty, but due to the fact that, they had this long 10-year relationship way before she even got with, Meek Mill and all these other guys or whatever. That man said he got tired of that. He got tired of being treated like he was just part of her entourage. She was no longer treating Safari like Safari was her man. The bigger her fan base got, the bigger her ego got, and the less she treated him like a man. He got tired of that mess. He said, the hell with her. Yeah, I love the shopping sprees. Yes, I love the limousine rides and the VIP. But damn, I got to go through all of this to be with her. I got to accept being treated less than a man in order to have a position in her life. Oh, hell no. I'm going to move on. And that's exactly what the hell he did. That's what Mary J. Blige's ex-husband did. Regardless of who initiated the divorce, for that person to agree and go along with it, hell, they felt it was necessary to not continue. So, like I said, Mary J. Blige did the same thing Jeannie Mae is doing. Now you want to talk down on the man, but these are men y'all have been with over 5 years, so it couldn't have been that bad. Now all of a sudden, because you ain't had your way, you can't have your way. He wouldn't let you have your way. Now she says, looking back, I had to forgive myself for being so stupid. But you dealt with it for 13 years. So it couldn't have been that bad. And that's the point that I'm making, is that anytime a man gets involved with a woman that has been broken out, that has been in a very damaged, toxic relationship, she's going to put so much hope and trust in that next man because, again, that is her way of trying to escape all of the pain that she still has not fully recovered from. So, hopefully, and I don't think he will, but hopefully, young Jezzy never lets Jeannie Mae down because she's probably going to have a massive meltdown because she's putting so much hope into him, into Jezzy, because she felt like the last relationship her man failed her. And that's the thing. Whenever you're dealing with somebody from a broken marriage or a broken relationship, they look for you to compensate double for their troubles. So my thing is, for these women to all of a suddenly, now you see the light. After over 10 years, that lets me know that you definitely have some issues. You definitely may need to go seek therapy. I hope Jeannie Mae has definitely, seek therapy, and she has healed from that, because the moment her and Jezzy hit a crossroads, hopefully she's able to handle it. Because again, she's putting too much of her hope and trust into Jezzy. And personally, I think their relationship is going to work. And the thing is, a lot of people want to give, Jeannie Mae credit, saying, because basically, she said in one of her interviews that she does not mind being submissive, that she wants Jezzy to lead and take the role. She feels that a woman should be submissive. Now, whenever a woman agrees to being submissive, men want to automatically give a woman props, because she acknowledges the fact that she thinks a man should lead. And me personally, I also feel like a man should lead if he has leadership qualities. Okay. But what a lot of men have to understand, when a woman says she's willing to be submissive, is not always for the reasons that you think she should be submissive for. Sometimes when a woman says that I'm willing to be submissive, it really means I'm willing to be humble, because I know I don't have any other options at this point. Before y'all start giving Jeannie Mae or any of these other women out here a standing ovation because she's willing to be submissive, realize she's only come to that point because she knows she's ran out of options. Now, you're not going to see too many women under the age of 30 say, I'm willing to be submissive. You know why? Because they know they still have options in their mind. They feel they do. Women who have been in failed relationships, or women who are close to hitting the wall, when they say they're willing to be submissive, it is only because they know they have ran out of options and they're on their last leg. Jeannie Mae is 41 years old. What other choice she got right now but to be submissive? What other choice she got? She don't have the right to go around and not be a non-submissive, meaning combative, and not willing to let a man lead, because she's her biological clock is ticking. It's her battery is close to being drained. Her biological clock is expired and ticking. So of course she's at a point now where she realizes she has to be submissive. It's not because she wants to, it's because I don't have a choice. I have to let a man lead now. Because at my age, I can't afford to be picky and choosy and place demands and emphasis on what I'm going to do and what I'm not going to do. Because I know my options are limited at this point. Jeannie is 41. She has no children. So, of course, she's going to submit. Same thing. When singer Fantasia went on the show talking about how there's not enough for black women, well, she didn't say black women, but she said there's a problem with a lot of women. The reason why we can't get a man is because we don't like to submit. We have to learn how to be submissive. Now, a lot of sisters was angry with her for that, saying that, because in the initial beginning, when she first became a celebrity, she was doing songs that supported single women who didn't have a man. When Fantasia did that song, I Got Love for All My Baby Mamas, and she was basically helping single women celebrate and uplift themselves through their struggles. See, she got a lot of props and a lot of respect when she was up here praising single mothers for being single mothers and holding it down. Now that she has a man, she done turned up on all of these single mothers who she used to congratulate, and she basically flipped the script on them and said, the reason why y'all can't get a man is because y'all don't know how to submit. So a lot of sisters look at her sideways, and that's the thing about these sisters. Once you support one cause and then you change your mind and support another cause, now they feel like you being fake and phony. How she went from, oh, I got love for all my baby mamas, to, okay, now you got to learn how to let a man submit, because evidently you didn't do that. Your first child you had before you got famous and hit American Idol, you got knocked up by some pookie. Then you turned around when Fantasia did become successful, with her first album or two, she turns around and get knocked up from a married man. Okay, now you're telling all of these women they need to be submissive. Well, evidently, it took you to get knocked up by two different pookies to come to that realization. So it just amazes me that's why you can't sit up here and as a man, be quick to give a woman props and credit because she says she's willing to submit. You got to look at her circumstances. Why? What made her get to the point to where she's willing to submit? Is she willing to submit because she don't hold around and nobody else wants her? Her vagina is pretty much discarded at this point because it's been overly recycled. So now she's willing to submit, or she's willing to submit because, like Jeannie Mae, she's been with a man for 10 years who she felt like she evidently couldn't please. Now she's over the age of 41. She realizes she needs to submit. Well, why you didn't submit to having a child from your husband that you was with for 10 years? I'm not understanding that. Find time to submit. You want to submit with a whole nother man who you only known for like a year or two and have a child from him? And he already has 3 kids from 3 different women. This is what I'm saying. The desperation of the divorcee. When a woman has just exited out of a toxic marriage, a toxic relationship. Now she realizes she needs to submit herself. 10 years later. And you have a lot of women with this mindset. I see nothing wrong with it. Now, another thing is Jeannie Mae, she had basically pissed off her ex-husband's current girlfriend, the one who he knocked up, for making up lies for more attention. And for some strange reason, I kind of believe that. The problem is a lot of people, y'all have tunnel vision. Y'all look at things one way and one way only. It's the saying, like your grandparents will tell you, look both ways before you cross the street. You got to look several ways before you take one person's statement and just believe that one statement they state. Now, Jeannie Mae pissed off her ex-husband girlfriend, and she actually had posted in reply to Jeannie Mae talking greasy about her ex-husband, who she so dearly loved for 10 years. When Jeannie Mae made the statement, I was married to someone who had more money than me, but because I was the stronger earner and we lived in California, a shocking thing slapped me in the face when we divorced and I had to end up paying him any earnings. Mae explained before adding the experience taught her a lesson about looking out for herself. So, when she made that statement, it pissed Lindsay Toole. Lindsay Toole is the current girlfriend or baby mama of Jeannie Mae's ex-husband, Freddie Hartiz. So Lindsay came on Instagram and she had to snap back and said, looking out for yourself is why you're still miserable. She further went on and said, your complete focus on yourself is why you're divorced. Yourself being the most important thing to you in the entire world is why you keep making up lies for more attention. Move on. Ain't nobody talking about you because we don't care. Stop trying to tear someone down who has done absolutely nothing to you. Never one time has Freddie brought up your name or drug it through the mud where it belongs. Every week you got some new dramatic story so that you can get more pity and more attention. How many more lies are you going to make up before you are satisfied? Freddie and I are both working our butts off to have what we have. Not because you gave anything. Freddie walked away from $1 million so he could finally give our family peace. And God has blessed him fruitfully in doing so. Let it go. Stop trying to make up things for people to feel sorry for you. You made Freddie sign and keep his mouth closed. I didn't sign for this very reason. I knew you would come back at his throat again. I would speak the truth, Jeannie. I'm pre-warning you that I will tell what really happened if you continue to publicly lie and humiliate Freddie. So, Jeannie Mae's ex-husband's Freddie girlfriend was not having it. She was like, you're not going to keep sitting up here talking greasy about Freddie, because in all honesty, I didn't hear Jeannie Mae's ex-husband ever come out and talk bad about her. But she's been doing all of the talking and steady, throwing him under the bus, and Freddie has not been saying anything. And the same exact thing happened with Mary J. Blige. She kept going on and on, dragging Kendall Isaacs on the radio show, on the talk shows, and he sat back for a while. He didn't say anything till it finally got to a point where he said, you know what, Mary, come on, you need to stop. Be better than this. How long you going to keep sitting up here dragging my name through the mud? And again, a lot of these divorcees, these newly divorced women, they will do that. They will drag the husbands through the mud, their ex-husbands through the mud, and you rarely ever hear the ex-husbands going after them or talking bad or greasy about them. And that's what Jeannie Mae did. And apparently, Jeannie Mae's ex-husband couldn't talk greasy about her because he signed off. Basically, some type of contract of disclosure stating that he was not going to have anything negative to say. He would not speak upon a divorce. He would not even address her. And that's the reason why Jeannie Mae's ex-husband, his girlfriend wouldn't sign off on it. She said, that's just why I didn't sign it, because I knew that I was going to give you room to say everything you want to say, and then he wouldn't have been able to respond or reply back because he already signed a contract not to even discuss you. But that's why I didn't sign it, because I knew you was going to pull this shit. I knew you was going to sit up here and drag him through the mud and make him look like 𝐜𝐴𝐚'𝐸 while you get to say everything you want to say, and he can't respond back because he done signed a contract. But guess what? I'm going to respond back for him because I didn't sign it. And she did say, I'm pre-warning you to keep your mouth closed before I really tell him what happened. And I noticed she didn't speak on it no more after that. So it's way more to the story. Like I say, before we start giving Jeannie Mae all of these props and recognition that all the sisters are hating on her because she's with Jezzy and all this and that. Look, all women, regardless of their color, got some type of dysfunction, have some type of self-esteem issues. Jeannie Mae is proving that by the fact of she has chosen a man who has 3 children from 3 different women, when she could have chose any man in that industry, I don't care if you black, white, purple, or green, who did not come with that amount of baggage. So my thing is, she just got out of a toxic relationship. How you gonna go from one toxic relationship to a man that has a toxic situation? Now, Jezzy, this does not define him as a man. It doesn't say he's less of a man, and it doesn't say that, he's not the ideal candidate. But what it does says is that, damn, you damn near would have been better off staying where you was, Jeannie Mae. Because either way it go, you still gonna have to deal with something. But I will say this before I get ready to shut it down. You have people that can overcome their circumstances, depending on how much they love each other, depending on how much they really want the relationship to work. I personally feel like Jeannie Mae and young Jezzy are going to make it. The reason I feel that is because Jeannie Mae already knows she's on her last leg. She's 41. There's really nowhere else for her to go. Young Jezzy is different. He's very different compared to the men she has dealt with. So he's brought a different type of light to her that she's not used to other men bringing. Not only that, like I said, she's 41. She's getting up in her age. So I feel like no matter what young Jezzy goes through with his baby mamas, with courts, child support, that she's going to be strong and solid, because at this point, she does not want to look like a loser anymore. Jeannie Mae does not want to fail in any more relationships. So at this point, she's going to do whatever she has to do to keep her and Jezzy's relationship going. She's going to deal with the chaos. She's going to deal with the baby mama drama because she doesn't want to fail again at love. Okay? Young Jezzy, on the other hand, I believe he's going to hang in there due to the fact that he's probably tired of black women. Between 3 of his black baby mamas, he probably has had his share with black women. Due to so many negative experiences with black women, plus he was dated Keisha Cole, and we ain't even got to go into the details of that because we already know she a hot ass mess. He probably has had his share with black women. So I'm sure he's going to do whatever he can to make Jeannie Mae happy because he has had his share of misery with black women. So I think because of all the drama he has gone through with black women and all of, the type of women he dated in the industry, that Jeannie Mae is different and she is willing to humble herself because, again, she knows she doesn't have many options and she doesn't want to like she's failed again. So I believe because of the reasons that I have just granted to y'all, I believe they're going to make it. I believe they're going to overcome the odds. Hell, if Kim Kardashian and Kanye West could still hang in there and they can still make it, guess what? I feel at this point, anybody stands a chance of overcoming the best and the worst of a relationship. Okay, so anyway, this was my particular intake that I want to share on this relationship with Jeannie Mae and young Jezzy. I definitely wish them both the best. I believe everything that they have gone through, they're going to use that to make their love stronger for one another. So all relationships have a test. No relationship is perfect. They're going to have their share of ups and downs, but I believe they're going to be able to persevere through it all. Like she said, she found her equal. She finally found someone, but I would say this, to Jeannie Mae and the rest of these women who are just now getting in relationships, don't be so quick to put these new relationships on a pedestal until you know for a fact, until you really endured the good and the bad with them, and you feel like now you have survived it all. You don't want to put it out there so quickly and give too much praises to it until you know for a fact. And that's just something you just have to be mindful of. You don't want to have to walk that hall of shame again, face that embarrassment. Well, yeah, I thought he was going to be the one too, but I realized, it's not working with him either. And women do this shit all the time. Y'all be so glad to get a new man because you want to prove a point to your ex-man that you are moving on and you're doing so well, only to get in the next relationship and find out, he ain't no better either than the last one. So anyway, leave y'all a comment below. I would like to know, what do y'all really, really think about Jeannie Mae and young Jezzy? Do y'all feel their relationship is going to survive? Do you think Jeannie Mae made an impulsive decision by moving on with the man regardless of his status as a rapper that has multiple children from multiple women? 3 baby mamas from 3 children. Do you think she made a wise decision? Do you think that, a lot of sisters out there are hating on the fact that young Jezzy does seem happier with a woman of another descent, of another race? Do y'all really think that young Jezzy is basically dating Jeannie Mae because he's had too many bad experiences with black women and he's ready to trade in his black card? I mean, what is y'all opinion on this? So anyway, leave your comment below. Before y'all exit this video, please hit that like button. It's not going to cost you any money is not going to cost you 1 red cent. So please hit that like button. Please share if you can. I appreciate it, everyone. And if you would like to cash out, my cash app is DymondGyrl, DymondGyrl. If you would like to donate to my movement. So I will holler at y'all later on. Y'all have a blessed day. Take care. I'm out. Bye.